Hey, Sheldon.
Mike, you're finally here.
Yeah, sorry, traffic was a mess.
Oh, don't worry, man. Just store your stuff right here. We'll bring it up to the guest room later.
Cool. Hey, thanks for the invite again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've been meaning to have you over since I got this place. Finally, we've got a guy's weekend.
Yeah.
So, you want a beer?
Um, what was that?
What was what?
Bah!
Oh, you mean the ghosts.
Ghost? You have a ghost in your house?
No, ghosts. More than one. Actually, quite a few.
So, your house is haunted?
Oh, severely.
What?
Yeah, the old owner apparently used to marry rich young women and kill them for their inheritance money, and now they haunt this place pretty good. See? There they go.
Are you serious?
Yep. I also heard he was banging his sister or something. Ugh, super weird. Anyway, it's a little annoying at times. They make a lot of noise, always giving you foreboding warnings and shit, especially when you're trying to sleep.
But why would you live here?
Oh, well, you saw Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember Ray's dream?
Wait. Do you mean Ghost Head?
Ghost Head.
Yes! Bro, up top.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go get that beer and I'll introduce you to Annie. You'll love her. Literally, just a floating head. It's awesome.
Nice. That's all I need.
Welcome to episode 61 of the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast, where each week we watch a movie from the horror category selected by one of our listeners, and we break it down into the good, the bad, and into any other category we decide to make up along the way. We'll talk about the plot, some production details, and whatever else is fun and relevant. I'm your host Sheldon, and I never work the graveyard shift alone. Please say hello to a guy that would definitely murder someone for their inheritance money, my co-host Mike.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, Mike, man, this is crazy. I'm not liking this. I'm expecting my power to go out any moment because as we're recording this, all I'm watching is the lightning flashing outside my window. It's pretty nuts here.
Well, luckily I've got blackout drapes, so it can be a whole bunch of lightning and I wouldn't notice.
Oh, you'll notice when your power goes out.
Yes.
But anyway, we've got something to talk about. So, Mike, why don't you tell everyone what this week's episode is all about?
Today's episode is Victorian Secret, because we watched Crimson Peak.
We certainly did, and this episode is brought to you by Natasha R., who suggested this week's movie on our Facebook page. So, Natasha, thank you very much for that. And here's a little info on Crimson Peak. Released in 2015, Crimson Peak is an American Gothic ghost story directed by Guillermo del Toro. And it stars a great cast that includes, I'm going to fuck this up, Mia Wasikowska, or maybe not, Tom Hiddleston, Jessica Chastain, hey, another ghost story with Jessica Chastain, alright, Charlie Hunnam, and Jim Beaver.
You think she's getting typecast?
I think so. It had a budget of $55 million, made approximately $75 million at the box office. So, made a profit, nothing spectacular, but a profit. And it has a runtime of 119 minutes, is rated R, but I'd call it a soft R. And Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 71% critic score and a 55% audience score. Not exactly stellar reviews. But as for the plot, in the aftermath of a family tragedy, an aspiring author is torn between the love of her childhood friend and the temptation of a mysterious outsider. Trying to escape the ghosts of her past, she is swept away to a house that breathes, bleeds, and remembers. Okay, so Mike, before we get into the details, because you know we love details, overall, what do you think of this one?
Very fancy, good setting, great atmosphere. it's definitely Del Toro style.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like aesthetically it looked great, and I don't want to give away too much of like what I liked and didn't like about it, but certainly had some flaws. Overall, just it's okay, I would call it. If you looked at the critic score and the audience score, you get the average. It's about a 6 out of 10. So I'd say that's probably safe. I might give it even like a 5.5, but I think a 6 is a decent score for this one.
Well, you heard me say it was a good-looking movie. I never said anything about it being exciting, engaging, or worth a repeat.
No, it definitely has some problems, but we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the good and the bad, and of course, like always, this can be whatever we liked or didn't like about it, whether it's something as specific as a certain scene, certain character, certain line of dialogue, or something as broad as an overall theme. Whatever, we're going to talk about it, and maybe even talk about some more stuff after the good and the bad. We always start with the good, though. Start off on a positive note, and we also start on the mic, so that thing about the positive note makes absolutely no sense. But anyway, Mike, tell me something good about this movie.
Well, I guess it's time for me to return to form and say that these people put the red in credits with the way that they treated the studio logo with the Haunting Child voice over it. I was already psyched up as soon as I saw like the red Universal, the red Legendary films. I was just like, ooh, they changed it. This is going to be interesting and unique.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, at least that's what I thought when it started.
Yeah. I like to start, too, not necessarily because of the credits. That's more of, something that you get off on. But I did like that, it didn't take... They threw, like, the overall theme of the movie there right away. Like, we didn't take long before we got into exactly what was going to outline the rest of the movie. So, like, right away, like, I mean, you see the movie is about ghosts, of course, and you see the first ghost within the first couple of minutes of the opening.
Yeah, it seems like they're delivering on everything. No pussyfooting around. They're just like, there's ghosts in this movie, just so you know. Like, no, people aren't imagining creaks and cracks in the house for about 40 minutes. There's a fucking ghost right off the bat.
Yeah, there's no, like, wondering, like, the ghosts certainly aren't being subtle in this movie, right? It's really just thrown right in there right away. Yeah, like you said, like, no alluding to ghosts. Like, maybe there's ghosts, maybe it's just a person's imagination. It's like, nope, we're throwing, like, this foggy, skeletal-looking ghost right at you within the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, her mom wasn't looking too good.
Yeah, Jesus. Okay, so yeah, so that's great. Like, it started off pretty good for the most part. Start off running, I guess is the best way to call it. Like, we start off with the lead character looking pretty worse for wear, and then she immediately goes into talking about her childhood, about the first time she saw a ghost, which was her dead mother. So, yeah. So, well, we already alluded to this a little bit when we talked about, our general overall feeling of this movie. I'll give them props for and like you said, this is kind of Del Toro style, the set design, the backdrops, fucking amazing. So detailed, so complex, and just so big. Like, there's not a single scene in this movie that's claustrophobic. Like, everything looks so bold and open. I read somewhere that nothing was, like, salvaged. Like, literally, they built everything for the sets, and, like, the props were built from scratch. So that's a pretty big undertaking. Like, that's a big chunk of the budget right there. So that was actually pretty impressive. Okay, so Mike, tell me something else good about this movie.
Well, my note here says, this movie had everything in it but the bathroom sink. Oh, wait. Because we get to see the dad in the lodge or hotel. What is it? Like the hotel bathroom, and does he go to a lodge?
It's like I thought
clean
it
up?
was like a country club or something like that.
Yeah, like a cigar club where they like sit around and like look proper and just boast to each other about like, oh, do you hear about that expedition in the Africa? Oh yes, those Boers, terribly. Oh yes, terrible situation over there. Like just a bunch of old people doing that. Mm-hmm. The old man, played by Jim Beaver, who was Bobby from Supernatural. Good to see him in there.
Yep, that was good, and he was Bobbying hard.
And we get to see him cleaning up in the bathroom. And just when you think, oh, a ghost is going to show up, nope, it's just a person who is considerably strong and just completely bashes his face into a sink.
Yeah, repeatedly. Great fucking kill. Like, and I guess this will lead into well, not what I had next, but I'll skip ahead a little to go to this point that I put in the good category. That kill was fantastic, and I'm not going to like all the special effects in this movie, but the practical effects when it just came to
his face caving in.
Yeah, literally smashed against the sink until like, and you saw it, like no cutting away from it, like just repeatedly smash until the actual basin breaks, and his face is actually caved in.
And then we get to see a nice allusion to a Psycho with blood circling the floor drain.
Yep. And what made that scene in particular good as well, because I thought for sure, like, we actually see him drop his straight razor on the floor when he goes, like, leaves the sink to check this, see what this mysterious noise was. And I'm like, okay, I see where this is going.
Someone's gonna pick it up.
Yeah. You're gonna see somebody pick it up, he's gonna come back, the straight razor is gone, and someone's gonna slash his throat with it. And I was like, oh, this movie is, about to get real predictable.
How fitting it's in the Victorian era, because it's telegraphing what's about to happen.
Yep, but man, much to my surprise, that is not what happened. Instead, it just goes for a nice bludgeon death.
Yep, I'm just gonna outright pummel your face meet porcelain.
Mm-hmm. So it really speaks to the practical effects.
Yeah, it was a surprising execution.
Yeah, it was great, and really just masterful practical effects. That death was great, gruesome, fantastic. You get to see his body in the morgue afterwards with his face is all caved in. There's no cutting away from it. Like, they just showed everything. A lot of stab wounds in this movie. The stabs look great. There's towards the end, there's a lot of knife action. Blood looks great. It's spurting all over the place. Jessica Chastain's character does that awesome, and this is one of the movie injuries that makes me cringe a little bit more so than anyone else, is when somebody grabs a knife blade and the knife gets pulled through their fingers.
Oh yeah, you just like that. It's like you're just thinking you're going to lose use of those fingers. Like, you're going to be cutting into tendons.
Yeah. Yes. There's no way.
Permanent nerve damage, loss of use. Like, there's got to be some crippling ends to that.
Yeah. So some nice slashes. The lead character Edith gets a blade pulled across her face at one point.
Also, a massive concussion as she gets thrown down several floors and crashes into a banister.
Yep. Yeah, so things like that. Jessica Chastain's character at the end, too, like I said, like, there's a lot of nice knife action and some slices and stabs. Tom Hiddleston gets literally stabbed in the face. I like that one, because I didn't expect that one. Like, I just thought, like, he's going to die from...
She already stabbed him in the chest twice.
Yeah, so I said, that's it. He's just going to fall.
He's a skinny dude, so it's like, there's not a lot of him.
Yeah.
So every place is vital.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston, of course, if you don't recognize the name, you certainly probably recognize Loki from the Avengers franchise.
He's a whisper.
Yeah, so I thought that was going to be it. He's stabbed in the abdomen and the chest a couple times, so I said, well, that's it. He's dead. He's just going to, get this slow death where he's going to collapse to his knees and slowly bleed out. And then takes literally, like, the knife sunken, like, all the way to the hilt into his face.
Right into his cheek, right under the eye.
Right beneath the eye. And it was good. It was a good-looking kill.
pulling the knife out. You see blood in his eye.
You see his eye fill up, like get all bloodshot, and then literally starts to leak out of the corner of his eye like tears. So it's great there. And then to top it off, towards the end, you get a great kill when the lead character Edith bashes Jessica Chastain's character over the head with a shovel and like literally splits her skull in half.
Oh, you can see that skull just open up under the skin. Yeah. It's another misdirect because they're fighting in front of like a big old Victorian fucking whirling machine of gears and shit. I keep thinking someone's going to get their arm or their head caught in a twirling gear and ripped off, and they're going to bleed out that way because it's right there. It's like Chekhov's grinder. But no, nobody uses the machine to kill anybody. Yeah. It's just this big old steam-powered digging machine that nobody gets caught in and dies in. So a little blue balls there, but good misdirect.
Which is like good too.
That's what this movie was. It was surprisingly misdirected kills.
Yeah. And there was other misdirection too. And so let's talk about this. Like, let's put this in the good with some misdirection when it comes to kills. There was also a misdirection, for me at least, that I fell for when it comes to Jessica Chastain's and Tom Hiddleston's characters, what their relationship was. Because when Edith's father hires a private investigator to investigate those two that are brothers, they claim to be brother and sister, and he finds out something and we see like a flash of a marriage certificate, I'm convinced. Are you driving while we're doing this podcast?
No, somebody just peeled out outside my house.
So I was convinced that they're not actually brother and sister, they're husband and wife just posing as brother and sister. And
there are allusions to that when she starts asking like, "So, did you bang my brother yet? It's your wedding day." And then when she finds out, "Oh, we did spend the night together," and she just flips the fuck out.
Literally takes a fucking shit fit, like starts throwing food all over the place and smashing
like hot food out, like grabbing a piping hot pot where you need a glove to touch the damn thing. She grabs it with her bare hands and then like piping hot food with her bare hands. She's just like completely disassociating.
Oh yeah, she's showing.
She just can't believe like somebody fucked my brother.
She's already like showing signs of a psychopath, and then when you realize then like she doesn't seem like she actually feels any pain, which is another big sign. So, yeah, it was pretty weird, and like so you really do. I was thinking like, oh, they're not brother and sister, they're actually married, and then you even see like not sex, but somebody's getting a little under the pants action in one scene. And so I'm thinking like, yeah, they're husband and wife, actually. They're married. And then you find out, no, they're actually brother and sister. They're just brother and sister that...
And she's like, he's not really your brother. Oh, yeah, he is. And then she knocks her out.
Yeah. Yikes.
Like, oh, man, we got some Lannister action. You can just imagine if people haven't seen this movie and they want it to be like, what if I get some Game of Thrones style action, but with one of my favorite Avengers villains? And I wish there was a movie with that in it. And then we're just blowing their fucking minds by letting them know it already came out. You just never heard of it.
Or could have got like the guy that plays Jaime Lannister, and like the same guy that was in Mama to play Tom Hiddleston's character instead.
Still making out with Jessica Chastain.
Yeah. It's like, why am I feel like I'm being typecast, and people would be like, oh, you just look like somebody that would fuck their sister. So
no, well, correction, you look like somebody whose sister would want to fuck them, because we're all about consent and our incest.
That's right. But yeah, so what the hell were we talking about? Okay, so far we've got great setting, good credits, of course.
Wincest going on.
Good, some good kills, good special effects. All right, what else you got for the good?
I'm all out of goods.
I'm going to say that I thought the acting was pretty good in this, and it should be. I mean, it was a good cast.
Yeah, and Guillermo del Toro, when has he done shit?
Neither one of us are going to say his name right.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. You even got the accent.
Or, as they say in Mexico, Guy the Bull.
And Yeah, so we got he's a great director, like great established director. Mia Wasikowska, best known for her role as Alice.
Mia Kawasaki,
There you go. That's it.
heiress to the motorcycle company.
Ah, that's how we got it. So yeah, like I mean, she's pretty good for anything I've seen her in. At least like I haven't seen her in a lot of things. She's best known for a role as Alice in the Disney Alice in Wonderland movies.
Yeah, I liked her in that.
You got Tom Hiddleston, of course, Loki, best known for Loki. Jessica Chastain, which was in Mama. She was probably the best part of our Mama review. She's going to play adult Beverly in in It Chapter 2 coming out next year.
I ain't mad at that.
Charlie Hunnam, of course, best known for Sons of Anarchy, and Jim Beaver, who's best known as Bobby from Supernatural, like you mentioned earlier. So that's all the lead cast. Like that's a pretty solid cast right there. So I gotta say, like I mean, money well spent when it came to the cast. Like that that was a great ensemble. And I guess the only other thing I want to say for my good column is just I'm a sucker for a ghost story, and when it comes to ghost stories, nothing beats like a Victorian setting for a ghost story. It's got like a nice, just a nice old-fashioned feel. They really captured the feeling like a nice Gothic Victorian setting, and to me, that's the pinnacle of ghost stories when they put it in that type of backdrop, like the 1800s type of ghost story is just the best. So, anyway, so that's the good. So now I guess drop right into the bad. And as per usual, I guess I'll start off with the bad. And even though we said that we liked, the movie didn't wait around a whole lot, we got our first ghost within the first couple of minutes of the movie. Too bad that ghosts look like fucking shit.
More herky-jerky CGI shit.
Oh my god, it looks so terrible. They did this, like, misty skeletal, like a black skeletal looking thing, but it didn't even look like it was finished, like it had fully finished rendering or something. Well, honestly, it was worse, much worse than the ghost in Mama looked.
And that was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad indeed. And I think it's one of these. It's a problem that they didn't like cut away from the ghost. Like there was no alluding to ghost. It was right in your face, and I actually think that kind of hurt the movie in this case.
Well, let's just put like a quick pause in here and just go into deliberation mode. Which ghost do you think is better in a horror movie? Just like a pale white version of a person, or some some skeletal, disheveled
CGI fog,
bony thing?
Yeah, honestly, like I mean, okay, not that I believe in ghosts in any way, shape, or form, but when people see ghosts, don't they just kind of see like just the shape of a human? Isn't that what normally just happens?
Yeah, if a ghost is supposed to be the soul of a person, why would a soul have bones?
Yeah.
I say if you're gonna do a ghost, they should just look like a pale, spectral person. They should look like a person with evanescence or an ephemeral gradient to them, like a little see-through action. But they should look like people because they are the souls of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the ghost is supposed to look bony and shit, you're like, is this the ghost of a skeleton? I thought these ghosts were people.
Yeah, like it looked more like it should have been. I don't know, like just some kind of demon or something. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're shooting for. But I think she was pretty certain that was her mother.
If you're gonna have bones and shit, like make it a zombie or a revenant. Like have a necromancer involved. Like this is their body. But if it's their spirit with bones, it just like make up your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't mind having living dead in a movie, like a reanimated skeleton, like sure, bring it on. That's creepy as fuck. Like, how do you slice or stab something that doesn't have
Yeah.
blood and arteries?
And
It's a threat.
Didn't she say that like her mother died from cholera? Was that it?
Yeah.
And like she even goes and say like basically cholera, like kind of like cholera eats the person. It
Yeah,
consumes.
so you can
them.
have like a gaunt,
Yeah, it would have been
disheveled
much exactly.
person with skin.
It would have been much better if they just had like this really mess up looking gaunt person, semi-skeletal, but like still like definitely a person, like the way her mother looked at death.
If you're gonna have Doug Jones in a movie dressed like a ghost, like just put him in some makeup with some disheveled hair and stuff, and just make him look like a victim of cholera that shot themselves to death. Like,
Yeah.
like he's a skinny dude. He can rock the disheveled look. He's the only guy in this movie skinnier than Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. So I honestly do think that this is an example of the movie being too forthcoming with things like not alluding to things, not keeping things like hidden away, and just doing like the quick shots, things like that actually hurt the movie more so than helped it. So I don't know. It just didn't do it for me at all. Now the ghosts, we saw many more ghosts later on. The dead women that we saw throughout the I was going to say castle, but it's the villain's house. I think they looked a little better than the ghosts that we saw at the beginning.
Apparently, even though they are intransient beings, they've collected clay dust.
Yeah, it still didn't look good. By no means did they look good. They're all covered in the in the clay, like the wet clay that this whole house is like built upon. So basically, this looks like an invisible ghost that's partially covered in red slime.
It's like they were on the Halloween episode of You Can't Do That on Television, and they just didn't know anything.
Yeah, and I like those a little more because these were like kind of like crawling after them. Their movements were all stiff and like almost I don't know how to describe it. Just it had a little more reminded me a little more of of a ghost than that one we saw at the beginning, but still far from good. And might as well go on to it now. Then it is the most offensive ghost in the whole movie. Something that just insulted my senses so much. And I know we just said this is going to go like almost exactly opposite of what we just talked about for what we would have liked to have seen in a ghost. But god damn it. When Tom Hiddleston's character dies, and then we see him in ghost form at the end, I almost fell on the floor laughing. His ghost looks like somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, you have 1 hour to do ghost cosplay on yourself. Here's a dollar store Halloween makeup kit, some powder to run through your hair, and here's a bottle of KY jelly to lube up your fist and jam it up your asshole as punishment for the terrible job you're inevitably going to do."
And if you run out of that stuff, there's flour in the kitchen.
Oh my god. So basically it was just Tom Hiddleston with like some dark makeup under his eyes and like some like flour dumped over him. And they made him like transparent. And oh my god. Like I'm cracking up laughing. My wife is watching with me and she's just silent and says, just once I finally stop laughing, she just looks at me and says, "Why did he do that?"
Oh my god. Like, again, even when you have a good idea like I did, like by making a ghost like just like a white faded version of a person, you don't run that shit through their hair and their clothes. Like their hair and their clothes should look normal while their skin would have like a white see-through thing. Like this one, it looks like he just had like he was in some romantic comedy with a girl and they were having like a little playful flirty action in the kitchen, throwing flour and dough at each other, And then he just walked out after a raucous bang session, and he's just like, all right, I'm ready to film my ghost scene.
Oh my god, it was the worst. And like literally, just after I'm complaining. Like, there's a few. Actually, it was my wife and we had some visitors at our house at the time, so we were watching this movie, and I'm complaining about the ghosts. I'm like, why do they have to go with this CGI crap? Why can't they just have a character just kind of pale, maybe look a little bit translucent, do it that way? It would have been so much more convincing. And then they do it, and when I see it, I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
And you're like, my idea wasn't that bad, was it? It's the way they did it. It has to be the way they did it. Yeah. This isn't the only two options we have for ghosts, is it?
Oh, for fuck's sake, it was terrible. Why would Tom Hiddleston let him do that to him? Like, did Del Toro take the last day of filming, did he take it off and just leave like his understudy in charge or something? And since we're talking about the problem with the ghosts in this movie, why is there no general consensus when it comes to how the ghosts look? Why do they all look different? Why is her mother like this black misty type of thing? The women that were murdered in the house are like all like just red and gloppy, covered in the wet clay. Tom Hiddleston just looks like a see-through idiot. And then Jessica Chastain's ghost is just like looks just like her, except all black. Why? Why do they all look different?
Self-image, I guess. Or I thought originally it would have to do with where they're buried, but Hiddleston and her, they don't get buried.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or Hiddleston didn't have time to get buried, so...
No. I just don't know. Like, why is it so inconsistent? It just bothers me. It's like my, honest to God, like my OCD was just going in overdrive at that time. It's like, I want to go to the set and fix everything.
Why can't I just go into my TV and make this better?
Ugh. All right, so what do you got on your bad?
My first bad is, yeah, sure, build a house on a clay foundation. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. And then complain about how much the house sinks.
Yeah, this is the second. I don't know if this is as bad. Like, it's a dead heat between this and the House of Wax for shitty house design.
Well, at least the house wasn't made out of clay, so.
No, it's just gonna fall all complete. It's all gonna fall in one shot into the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
At least, like on a really hot day, you can consider it aggressive remodeling.
Oh my god, yeah, and okay, so you know what? I'm going to leave that one till later. I'll mention that in a later category. I don't even know what else to say for the bad. I think that just
I'll plow through them, and if you find something that tickles your fancy or demands elaboration, feel free.
My notes on the ghost just pretty much took up my bad column.
Hey, it was like a good 10-minute screed. You filled out your time good.
All right, why don't you knock off a couple of yours anyway?
2 bathtub scenes, no tits. Come on.
Yeah, and the only ass we get to see is Loki's.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can understand, like, most of the ladies and 10% of the guys were just in seventh heaven for that 2 seconds of bare butt Loki. Me, on the other hand, I'm just like, I'm not grossed out by it, but I'm just like, I can tolerate this. Now return the favor. Let's see some of her. No.
Nope.
She keeps her dress on, straddles him, and just like does a little shifting around to imply some penetration. And I'm like, you're keeping the fucking dress on? God damn you. I mean, Del Toro fucked us in the bathtub, because when she got out, she was like topless. But now she's got a fuck scene, and she's keeping the dress on. Okay, fuck you, Del Toro, first, and second, fuck you, Mia Kawasaki. I've got your name spelled in front of me, but I'm not going to say it right because you friggin' fucked me over. No. And then when we do get a ghost girl in the bathtub, it's one of those clay bitches.
Yep.
So even though she is completely topless, she is also skinless.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
no titties. No. Mikey denied.
Yep, Mike gets denied once again.
And I guess overall the pacing. It starts off great, and then by the time they get to the mansion, it is very slow going to get to the very end.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of, yep, there's a mystery in this place, but we'll fuck around with some shitty looking ghosts and a dog for about a good 50 minutes straight.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I could mention that. I wasn't going to mention that because I think I mentioned that so much, about the runtime of the movies. But, yeah, there's another movie that did not need a 2-hour runtime.
90 minutes would have been fine.
Yep.
By the time it starts to get boring, boom, the ending would have come along and it would have been like, all right, wrapped up, great. That last half hour for me was a long haul.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my final bad is about Mia's character. For someone who grew up with ghosts, she keeps being surprised by them and horrified of them. Like, each one of them is showing up for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You think she'd look at the ghost and be like, okay, what's your story? Like, talk with them. She's always horrified, like, oh, ghosts are haunting me all my life. Like, have they ever hurt you? No. Then they've probably got something to say, so shut the fuck up and just listen.
Yeah, the first one you saw looked like the fucking Grim Reaper, so I'm pretty sure the other ones are probably a little safer than that.
Yeah, and that one was your mom who just, like, cuddled you to sleep. Like, it's jarring the first time, I'll give you that. But you grow up around this shit, you should be like, oh, it's just something I see no one else does.
Yeah, no, you're certainly not wrong. Okay, so here's something I'm going to put on my bad list because it fucking pissed me off. Why the hell do ghosts in movies have to be so... what's the best way? It's so subtle when it comes to, and so, like,
Cryptic?
That's the word I was looking for. Why do they have to be so fucking cryptic when it comes to giving somebody a message?
Well, they are buried in one, aren't they?
Yeah, but, like, okay, so...
Wordplay.
For fuck's sake, I'm gonna punch you just for that joke next time I see you. But, like, yeah, so this is the ghost of her mother trying to protect her daughter. She comes to her as a child and says, beware of Crimson Peak.
Like it's fucking Pyramid Head.
Yeah. Okay, Crimson Peak.
I'm expecting a man. I'm expecting a guy like beware of Crimson Peak. You know what I was expecting the villain to be? A ginger. That's what I was expecting.
So, yeah, it tells her, beware of Crimson Peak. Okay, she doesn't even know that this place, their house, is called Crimson Peak until she actually gets there. Like, great warning, mother. How about come to me and say, hey, Thomas Sharp and his sister are psychopaths, and they're going to fuck you up when you meet them? Stay away from them, like, as far as possible.
Or, we'll kill them. Like, something, like, lead them to me, lead them to my grave, and I will fucking kill them for you.
Yeah, or how about the ghost, like, try some interference with it, like, trying to interfere with it?
Yeah, so the mom is also a psychic ghost, because she's telling this kid a story, like, watch out for people that you won't meet for about a good 15, or about a good 10, 15 years. And somehow I know about this house that exists across the ocean.
Yeah, how about the ghost and if she makes it there, if her mother is that useless and she makes it there, how about the other ghosts say, like, just come to her and say, like, hey, he married me and then killed me for my money. He's going to do the same thing for you, so get out of here. So.
Yeah, and also, by the way, don't mention banging him because they're brother and sister, but they're also fucking.
Yeah. Right, if you for some reason... You can't process. It's hard to process your voice when you're a ghost and get an audio message across, or an audible message across. Write it down. Write it in fucking clay on the wall or something. Anything.
Yeah, make the walls bleed the word incest, like something.
Anyway, just pissed me off. Why the fuck are ghosts so useless?
Oh man, it's bad enough you can't touch anything, but do you also have to not be able to say anything?
And then, okay, last thing for my bad list. They kill the fucking dog at the end.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the little dog. You don't see it, but it happens off screen, but you hear it. It's when
What was this?
It's when her friend shows up and tries to escape with her, and he gets stabbed. While she's, everything goes in slow motion while she's like, crying over him because he's laying dead in the snow. At least she thinks he is. You see Lucille, the sister, in the background come along, grab a knife, and head toward. You hear the dog barking, and you hear her say, "Come here, you little shit!" And then you see her bend down with the knife, and then you hear the dog just whimper once, and then he's out.
Oh man, I completely ignored that.
That dog the dog barks so much in the movie. My dog used to go fucking nuts. My dog was barking and running around the house like she was a lunatic. It was.
I don't know.
Annoying.
I think I might. I don't know if I'll put that in the good or not.
What?
I hate a yappy dog.
I know, like, it's annoying, but still, that bothers me. When honestly, I react much more strongly towards animals getting killed in movies than I do humans. I couldn't care less about humans dying, but when animals get killed, it bothers the fuck out of me.
So why didn't we see the doggy ghost?
Oh, that would have been awesome. We need to see.
Oh, he probably would have been flying around.
We need to see more pet ghosts in movies.
Oh yeah, that'd be really great. You throw the ball, they run over, try to bite it, their jaw goes right through it. Then they just tilt their head with that little puzzled look, like, like he's trying to process. What's going on here? How am I going to bring it back? I got to bring it back. I'm a good boy.
So anyway, that's all I'm gonna have for my bad. Like that was enough. Like if this movie started off as a 10 for the good points about it, then it easily dropped down to like a 5.5 for the bad points.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else for the bad?
No, I just got like 2 questions that may or may not be what the fucks.
Well, that'll be the next category. We'll call it may or may not be what the fucks. So we're just making this shit up anyway. So
WTF with a question mark?
yeah. All right. So give me one of them.
All right. When is the right time to stick your hand into a whirling steam-powered ground shredder? Oh yeah, when it's turned on.
Oh yeah.
Because Loki, I guess he's hearing like some weird grinding noise or something, so he decides to stick his hand in the belly of this clay digging auto scooper thing, and all of a sudden, like a blast. He got the luckiest outcome of this because he only got blasted with a burst of steam, which burned his hand, rather than having gears and shit just grinding that shit right off.
Yep.
And I'm like, yep, you turn the fucking thing off, or you take off the shell and like get some tools in there. You don't just be like, oh gee, my lawnmower's making this weird sound. How about I just tighten the lug nut on the blade? Oh, that's gonna be hard with my fingers gone. If only I could have seen this coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was pretty dumb.
And the last is a medical what the fuck. Because the doctor, he comes over, patches up Alice, which I'm going to call her because I don't know her name, and he
Honda Mitsubishi, you said, right?
So he walks out with Toyota, and that's when Jessica Chastain stabs him in the armpit. And he walks away from it and stupidly yanks it out, as if this guy who is a doctor doesn't know when you get stabbed in a place with a major artery like the armpit, which carries all the blood to your arm. When you get stabbed, you leave that shit in there because right now that knife is keeping you alive because it's a plug.
Yeah, but he was a doctor in the old-timey days, like it's like that meme was on Facebook a little while ago that I showed you. It was like being a doctor in the Victorian era would be the best. You're just going around drunk off your ass all the time and be like, oh, it seems like you got ghost in your blood. You better do some cocaine about it.
Oh, time to let out some of the bad humors.
But yeah, that was... And see, that scene, I'm like, when she stabbed him, got him right, thrust the knife upward into his armpit, I'm thinking like, holy shit, she knows anatomy, because that is a great way to make somebody bleed to death, by slicing them there.
Yeah, this guy is going to fucking die, and it's going to be quickly, and it was amazing, and then we get denied that kill. So much of this movie is about denying. I got denied my tits, I got denied good-looking ghost, I got denied an armpit blood loss, an armpit bloodbath. Even Loki, when he gets stabbed in the cheekbone, you just think, oh, well, I guess he's going to be okay. He rips out the knife, and you just think, oh, well, guess he's going to bleed a lot even though he shouldn't. He doesn't bleed out a lot, and yet he still dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, blood loss is so inconsistent in this movie.
Yeah, but, and to me, I got one, just one, and this, to me, was totally a what the fuck. Okay, so I understand that, like, they came from money, but they don't have a lot left. They're sinking all most of the family fortune that was left into him trying to make this perfect mining machine. And so there's not a lot of money for anything else, especially when it comes to repairs of their very, very old mansion. But god damn it. Can somebody at least go get a few, like, pieces of 2x4 and cover that gigantic hole in the roof?
Put a tarp on the roof with some bricks to hold it down. Like, just keep the snow out.
There's a hole in the roof fucking big enough to drive, like, a Subaru through. It literally, like, it goes through the roof, comes down through one of the floors, and snow is piling up in the main lobby of the house.
Yeah, just get some people on ladders, put some 2x4s, lay down a fucking tarp. Anything.
Yeah. It's like, this house is cold. Yeah, does it have something to do with the fact that, like, 15% of the roof is missing? What the hell, man? Like,
I mean, you've got all this clay, just put up some shingles.
Yeah, it's like, and you got, like, people that work for you. You can't get somebody to go up on a roof and just, like, put something over that?
That's what he's going to do with the profits from the ground digger.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that, because it's not important to fix that first of all.
No, it's only winter. I mean, like, come on.
Like, 3 times throughout this movie, as we're watching it, I'm like, why is there a giant hole in the roof?
He's got a snowbank in his hall.
And they're there for, like, a while, like, quite a while, because first when you show up, it's fall, like, they walk into the house and there's literally, like, a pile of leaves there. And then later on, it's, like, replaced with a pile of snow.
I guess they needed that snowbank there to justify breaking Alice's fall.
Yeah, but, geez, that's stupid. Like, that, why? Why is there a giant hole in the roof?
Yeah, also, snow, probably not the best cushioning thing, especially that small.
Yeah.
But Guillermo is from Mexico, so he probably doesn't understand, like, the fundamental basics of snow.
Well, he didn't understand that snow, if it comes in contact with a red, like, wet substance, it's probably going to turn to slush instead of just turning the snow red.
Yeah, the clay isn't going to be slushy, it's just going to be red snow.
God damn it, this movie. Ugh.
I think this movie deserves a 40%.
Yeah, I think
it's all pretty, but it's like the pretty girl in school that finally talks to you, and then you realize she's really fucking boring.
Yeah, it sucks because what's bad about this is this movie could have been so good.
It had all the right ingredients. Del Toro has made excellent movies.
Yeah, definitely right ingredients, but just fucked it up in the mix for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna lower my score. I'm not giving this. I can't get. It frustrated me too much. I can't give it a passing mark.
Now I've got no desire to see this movie again.
Nope. 4.5.
Nope. If I want to see Tom Hiddleston die, I'll go watch Infinity War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like like my house guest said while watching this, like, you got Charlie Hunnam in this movie, and you're gonna show Tom Hiddleston's ass, really? So anyway, oh my god. Okay, so that's it for the good, the bad, and the what the fuck. So Mike, I got a feeling that I could actually bet some money on what you're going to pick for your segment coming up right now.
I have a feeling we're on the same page on this week's Kill of the Week. And that is Bobby meeting Mr. Sink. Right at the beginning of the movie, we are... not the beginning, about a good chunk near the end of the beginning, when all the wheels are really put in motion. Mr. Cushing, which I want to believe is an homage to Peter Cushing. That's the family name of the heroine and her father in this movie. And Guillermo del Toro, he's disappointed me so many times in this movie. I don't want to ask where he got it from, because he's probably going to be like, "Oh no, man! It was someone was talking to me about the couch, and they wanted to know how what the cushions are made out of, and I thought the way he said it was pretty funny, so I made that the name of my character."
Wow.
So like, I'm just like, no. There's if there's a way to disappoint me, I'm pretty sure he'll do it beyond the movie. So I'm just going to assume that it's Peter Cushing is the name, and when he gets his face plowed into that sink numerous times with that phonograph playing, and the water running in the sink, circling the blood around the drain, and watching that face cave in, and we just keep thinking, oh, it's got to be Loki that did it, but no, it was Jessica Chastain that did it. She's a powerhouse.
Yeah, she's got some psycho strength going on there.
Well, we've also seen... I started to think that it was her when she, like, grabbed the pot without feeling the pain. And I'm like, oh, shit, she's got, like, that whole... That brain ain't wired properly advantages where, like, pain don't mean shit to her.
Oh, definitely. That's for sure.
Yep, it delivered on a promise that the movie failed to deliver, but the scene itself... It's, like, the best thing, because what else am I going to call as a kill? Like... The woman who didn't get grinded into the machine but only got pounded with a shovel, or Loki who just spent his last time pulling a knife out of his cheekbone, and there wasn't even that much blood coming out of it. So, like, you just think if you get stabbed in the face, you'd be like, "Oh, you fucking asshole!" But no, he's just, I'm going to pull the knife out and then immediately die before doing anything with it. You'd think that he was going to like stab her with it.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to see. Like, have the twins kill each other. That would have been fucking great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so as well. That would have been better.
But that didn't happen, and that's why those aren't the kill of the week.
I thought her kill was decent, though. She was, like, taking that, after getting sliced up quite a bit, getting a nice bash over the head with the shovel. But not to the point of Bobby getting his face caved in. Definitely not.
The movie began with her destroying someone's skull and ended with her skull getting destroyed. So there is a beautiful symmetry in that, but it begins with Bobby, and that's why I'm keeping my ranking.
No, it's good. I like it. Okay, well, guys, that is our coverage of Crimson Peak. Have you seen this movie? If you did, what do you think of it? What do you think of our coverage? You agree with what we had to say? Disagree? Well, we certainly want to hear what you had to say. Just like a couple of weeks ago, like, you certainly had no problem telling us that we were totally wrong on our coverage of The Host, because apparently people are not happy that we didn't like this movie. We got a lot of feedback about that one.
Apparently it's a masterpiece, and we just didn't. Yeah. We just happened to agree wrongly that it may not be.
So. I guess we're just a couple of idiots. But no, seriously, guys, we do, and we said going into it with that episode that, like, you know, it had really good scores on Rotten Tomatoes, so we're probably going to be in the minority for this, but that's okay. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. This is just our opinions. So anyway, guys, but we do seriously want to hear from you what you thought of this episode, and you got a few options for doing that. First of all, you can email us at graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, of course, at GYS_horrorpod. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. You can check us out on Instagram at instagram.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but just in case you didn't, we're now on Spotify as well, so you have another way of finding us, so check that out. And of course, if you're feeling particularly generous, you can head on over to www.patreon.com/graveyard. That is for our Patreon account where you can donate your hard-earned money to us, a little bit of it anyway, just something to help us out with the production of the show and maybe some promotional things, in the future, some giveaways, some merchandise, things like that. For only $1 a month, you help out the show greatly, but you also get access to some nice Patreon exclusive episodes. Once a month, we put a new episode up there for you guys, for you Patreon donors, and just a little thank you, a little something extra for helping us out. And we like those episodes because we get to do it a little different than what we do with the regular episode in the main feed. We get to take on kind of a different style when it comes to movie reviews. Sometimes we don't do movies. We do TV shows, video games, whatever comes to our mind, whatever, floats our boat, or whatever our Patreon donors suggest that they want as a Patreon episode. We're open to suggestions. And of course, we understand that not everyone has the money to give us some money, but you can still help us out a ton. The most effective way is to go on over to iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. In the long run, that helps us out the most. But of course, not everyone is an iTunes user, but whatever way you're finding our show, whether it's on the actual Podbean site or the Podbean app, or on Spotify, like I just mentioned, numerous...
Or Facebook.
Yeah, on our social media.
You can share our Facebook page, because we got stuff there besides episodes, so we got something for everybody.
The links to our episodes are on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. You can listen to the episodes directly from there. There's so many ways you can get it. There's pretty much any place that offers podcasts, you can find our show. And like Mike said, check out our social media, because we do have the links to the episodes there. But we also post some other stuff, horror related things, whatever tickles our fancy that day. We'll probably throw it up there and share some stuff from some other people that we know that are horror fans or involved with horror in some way, shape, or form. And just something I want to say too, I know I posted this on Twitter, and we do have some responses, and we're going to share some of those in some upcoming episodes. But if you're the creator of anything in regards to horror, whether it's like a product, some merchandise, horror entertainment, like another horror podcast, or a movie, TV show, web series, whatever it is, if you do something that's horror related, and you'd like to have it promoted on the show, just contact us in one of the ways that we mentioned before, and we'll see what we can do for you. Glad to help people out. And anyway, so if you really want to help us out, whichever way you're finding the show, there's probably some rating system, reviewing system there. So if you could give us like a nice rating and review, or subscribe to us, we certainly do appreciate it. At the very least, if you could share us on your social media platforms, share our show with someone you think would like them, or just share by word of mouth. It's all appreciated. So, Mike, other than the Graveyard Shift, what other stuff you got going on?
Well, I got the Playing with Power podcast, where me and my currently available, but maybe not for long, co-host will read Nintendo Power magazine and just talk about the good... The crazy stuff that we find in there, letters to the editor, game coverage, amazing articles like, hey, Nintendo's coming out with a new console and it's going to use CD-ROMs. And then a couple of issues later, hey, you know what? Cartridges are still faster than CD-ROMs. Who needs that? So it's always great to read these things in a quick succession just to see how they just completely turned around on that. So there's always that, as well as just disgusting, horrifying personal stories or things we see on the internet. It's like half banter, half about Nintendo Power magazine. So if you like goofy, gross, vulgar stuff like this, but you just thought, what if these guys did more of it and talked about video games? You can check out that episode. You can check out that show. It's also got the taste test in that same feed, where we actually play the games and give them a nice little review with some food jokes. But if you want to hear something more tech-related, I also do Technobabble, which is on the Geek Fallout Productions podcast feed, Facebook page, stuff like that, where we talk about technology, science, developments, and oftentimes we also like to throw a spotlight on some positive things that are being made in the world, like initiatives used with technology, like devices that are scooping out plastics from rivers and then building nice seed farms that will grow moss under them to feed the fish and provide shade from the sunlight, as well as crops on top to feed local people.
Cool, good stuff. Yeah, check them all out. They're all quality shows, really good. And other than that, you mentioned your co-host for Playing with Power, and he has another podcast as well that you can check out, right?
Yes, Repeat 1, where Ben from the Playing with Power podcast will talk about a song that he enjoys and about the story of an artist and how that came to be.
It's a good one. I really enjoy that. For anybody,
I'm fading.
For anybody,
I'm fading mentally.
For anybody that's a music fan and you love like to find out the details, like the history behind songs, some of the inside stuff, is a great one. So check it out. It's all good stuff, and
that's bite sized, like about a good 3 minutes each. So it's not going to hamper your day. There's no big commitment like us who just jabber on and on and on.
It's not a grueling task like listening to our show. So, guys, thank you so much. Really, like I was kidding before about like the comments. We do really appreciate any feedback, and we honestly, that was a lot of fun talking about like having some difference of opinion about what we thought of a movie. So I actually liked all that feedback.
Oh yeah, it's good to not be in an echo chamber where everyone's just like, "You guys are great." Like, you know what? If we're not great, let us know.
It's like I said, and this is a common thing for me. Like a lot of times, it happens where there's some movies out there that people hate, and I really enjoy it. I know they're not good, but I still enjoy them. And there's some movies that people have given lots of praise that I've watched and been like, "Yeah, that wasn't that great, actually." But anyway, guys, whatever your opinions are, we do appreciate it.
I'm reevaluating my friendship with you.
We do really appreciate any feedback, and thank you guys so much for the messages and a lot of kind words on social media too. We've been getting some good reviews, lots of sharing going on, and I'm really looking forward to. We've got some, we'll say we got some collaborations coming up soon as we can get a nice schedule written up about how we can do this. Got some collaborations with a couple of other podcasts that we listen to coming up. I'm very excited about that, so that's going to be fun. But that's for later on. We'll be back next week with another horror movie to talk about. Until then, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Mike.
And guys, thank you again for joining us on the Graveyard Shift. Ha 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 ha!